Habits are at the center of almost everything we do, and they often serve a useful purpose. Imagine if you had to make conscious decisions about every action you needed to take on a drive from your home to your office. Should I change gear? Is the car going too fast, too slow? It would probably be a very taxing experience, and there may well be many more accidents than there presently are. But they can also be really sneaky about the way that they creep into our lives, and we can find ourselves living patterns that we didn't actually decide on because we've been influenced by cues we're not fully aware of. So learning to understand them is the first step in ensuring that our habits do not become our destiny.
1, 2, 3, 4!
Hi, my name is Chantel. I'm a speaker, a teacher, a coach, and a mom, and my goal with this channel is to give you access to content, ideas, and perspectives that you can use to live whatever you decide the best version of your life to be. In the last few videos, we've been discussing habits based on this book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. The goal of both the books and the videos is to give you an understanding of the component parts of habits, what the anatomy of a habit is, and how you can use that understanding to live a more intentional life. But if you've watched all of those videos, you may still be wondering, all right, no, look, I understand these basic pieces. I know what a habit loop is. I know what a keystone habit is. Well, how do I make it all work? And in the appendix to the book, the author tries to give us a little bit of guidance around that. He proposes a framework with 4 points. Identify the routine, experiment with rewards, isolate the cue, and make a plan. Let's start with identifying the routine. It may seem like the most straightforward one, certainly the simplest, because the routine is the behavior that you keep doing over and over again. It's the thing that you keep repeating that is usually the first thing you become aware of. Sometimes it's not as easy to identify that routine. There are compulsive snackers who are not aware that they snack, for instance. And that's why awareness tools like keeping a journal or writing down specific actions or events in a part of the day can help you develop your awareness of this. The one I'm using as an example is my compulsion to buy and eat jelly beans. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against jelly beans, but a pack a day is excessive. I think my dentist would agree. So the routine is, anytime I want to drive, I buy a bag of jelly beans. What's your routine? The second step is to experiment with rewards. You may not always be aware what it is you get from this routine that you're doing. The author suggests something that you can do to try help you identify what that reward might be, so that you can experiment with replacing the activity with other things to see if you still get that reward. The suggestion is that as soon as you've completed the action, you write down 3 things, 3 feelings or sensations that you have as soon as it's done. So on one occasion after my pack of jelly beans, the sensations or feelings I wrote down were disgusted, satisfied, discomfort. Disgusted because I'd eaten an entire bag of jelly beans and I felt a little sick. Satisfied because I'd had my sweet craving and I felt good. Discomfort because I have teeth sensitivity, so it hurts to eat sugary things. Realizing that the closest that I could get to saying this is actually what I get from it was the sugar satisfaction, I recognized that what I might be craving is actually that little rush of chemical release, you know, the whole endorphins vibe. So perhaps that's actually what I was seeking. And then I can experiment with different activities, see if that's actually the thing that I'm looking for. So what else releases endorphins? Going for a walk? Exercising? You'll have to try it out with the routine you identify to see what works for you. Take a look at the third one, isolate the cue. It's not always apparent what sets off a routine. For some things it may be a time of day. In the case of my jelly bean fetish, it was triggered, it seemed to be, by the drive. It only happens when I'm in a car. I never leave my home or walk somewhere to go and buy jelly beans. But how can you identify what the cue is for you? The author suggests answering 5 questions. Those questions relate to things that are commonly found to be the compelling factor in taking an action. And they are location, time, emotional state, other people, and immediately preceding action. So I just had some jelly beans. Where was I? I was in my car. What time was it? What's my emotional state? Honestly, a little bit frustrated because I'm sitting in traffic. Who else is around? No one at the moment. What action preceded the urge? Interesting. I was just cut off in traffic. If you answer those questions, you may find a pattern emerges, and it's the pattern that you're looking for because it means that this is something that you consistently respond to in this way. So it would seem that my seeking comfort was triggered by stress. The final step is the most kinetic one. Have a plan. Remember the last video, planning for the inflection points? So something that you have to do now is design your routine shift so that it sticks. You now know what the routine is. You've figured out what reward you're looking for when you do it. You're clear about what the cue is. Now you need to plan for when this cue arises, this is the action that I will undertake so that I can still get the same reward. Because, right, we want to keep the same cue and the same reward, we're just shifting the routine. What about those inflection points? I had to plan for how I would respond in those moments. What could I do instead? So, while habits and responding to them is definitely not a one-size-fits-all process, and there's no magic wand. And the idea is not for you to beat yourself up about not being able to get it done. On a few occasions, the routine that I had identified to replace it didn't work, or my need for that particular reward was just intense and in the moment, and I gave in and I had the jelly beans. As any sporting coach will tell you, if you cannot win, at the very least, try not to lose. So if that eventuality arises, take it on the chin and try again. The point in shifting habits is that it's going to take some repeated action, because it became a habit owing to repeated action. It's not going to magically disappear. But I hope that this video and the ones preceding it have empowered you to take charge of parts of your life that you may have been a little frustrated by, and put some of the power back in your hands. Well, friends, that concludes our meditation on habits. I hope that you found it helpful. As always, if you know anyone who you think would find it helpful too, please go ahead and share. Give the video a like, it's really helpful when you do. And please leave a comment. I love hearing from you. Until next time, stay safe.